Hi and welcome to Savage's Reviews and Recommendations. In today's video we're going to be talking about both Power, Raising Kanan, episodes 2 to 5, as well as the film Free Guy. Alright, let's dive in. Where we left off in the pilot, we have seen Kanan becoming the man he is by not only dropping his first body, but also his mum starts teaching him how to properly shoot. From then on, Kanan is put on watch duties at a stash house whilst the rest of the family are left to deal with the repercussions of Kanan's actions, which sadly means one of Kanan's friends has to die. While this does hinder Kanan's development to an extent, we do get the opportunity to see other characters shine. For example, his mother, who we see as quite a ruthless leader, but very protective of her son, and does anything to keep him out of this particular life until episode 5, where she kind of gives in and shows him how to cook crack. The other characters who shine is Jukebox, who in the first episode we see showing lesbian feelings for a particular woman, and we see that relationship grow. And whilst it is kind of weird for them to sexualise a person who's portraying a 15-year-old, apart from that, her character is very interesting, and she's a great singer, and she's a badass, very confident, and you see a lot of Kanan's mother in her. Another character who gets a bit more development, light on them, is Lulu, the younger brother of the family, who is the more ruthless member of that particular gang, and he is the one who has to kill Kanan's best friend. The idiot of the gang, Marvin, is the oldest brother, who not only questions Raquel and her ideas, but also opposes her, to kind of show off some sort of masculinity that he feels is being damaged. We see this when he hooks up with a particular woman, and as she's getting comfortable and showing feelings towards him, he rejects her, decides to bounce, and takes the dog he initially gave her. Not only does he do stupid shit that jeopardizes himself, like get into a fight with a white guy and gets arrested, which in his defense the guy was being an asshole and he was only defending a woman's honor, but he then gets Kanan into his shit when he is ordered by Raquel to empty a stash house, and when he tries to enlist the help of another member who has fallen ill, he decides to use Kanan to empty the stash house, and then leaves him on his own to do it while he goes get some food, and then the stash house gets robbed, putting Kanan's life into jeopardy. And when he comes back and sees that it's been robbed, he shoots through the car window and then does end up saving Kanan's life. Now, whilst the TV show it's developed very well, they do stagnate Kanan development wise, which it does make sense, as you don't want to see Kanan developing very quickly throughout the show. You want a slow reveal, and I think they're doing a very good job of that. Kind of how Snowfall and how their development was in season 1. For the first 5 episodes at the moment, I'd give it a 7.9 out of 10. It's got another 5 episodes, so it can be the subject of going higher or going lower, and I'm hoping for the former. Now, for other recommendations, I would give the TV show BMF, Black Mafia Family, a look. Now, whilst it's not out yet, there's a trailer for it which you can watch. These people who ran a drug company and made themselves legends in the drug game and in Detroit as well. That show is produced by 50 Cent. Another 50 Cent produced show is For Life, a TV show about a convict who is wrongly arrested and imprisoned and decides to become a lawyer whilst he's in prison, to not only get himself off, but to get other prisoners who were wrongly convicted as well. I only saw the first season, but I'd definitely give it a recommendation. Season 2 is not yet out on the particular app I watched it on Now TV. Even though the show did get cancelled, I'm hoping it has a comeback with other shows. They're in talks right now, I don't know the specific details, but do go and watch those shows. Alright, with that out of the way, let's talk about Free Guy. Now, Free Guy is a comedic film looking into the world of a video game, looking into a specific NPC called Guy, who somehow breaks his programming and starts to protect the citizens of his town from the crime that everyone's are victim to every day. The film has got a great cast, from Ryan Reynolds playing the character Guy. We have Jodie Comer playing Millie, Molotov girl in the game. We have Joe Keery, who plays Keys. He's one of the original developers of the code that the game uses. We have Lil Rel Harari, apologies if that's not the pronunciation, plays Buddy, Guy's best friend. And finally we have Taika Waititi, apologies, as Antoine, the main villain of the film. Now, the film is essentially The Truman Show meets GTA. The reason I say that is because whilst the main character believes he's in this world, it's actually fake, kind of like how The Truman Show is a TV show. And in the film we see that there's certain programming that everyone that's an NPC follows, i.e. they get the same coffee, they believe that the crime wave is normal and comes with the territory and the lifestyle, and that people with sunglasses, i.e. the players, are kind of heroes who don't have to follow rules like they do, but they are not to be approached. That is until Guy gets a pair of those glasses, and his main thing was to search after this girl, this Molotov girl, who in the real world is Millie, who is using the game to try and find evidence that her original code is within that game, to prove that the main creator, Antoine, stole their code without permission and without paying them the correct amount of money. Now, after a certain amount of events, the Molotov girl / Millie enlists Guy into helping her, and even though she knows that he doesn't really understand that this is a video game and he's not a player, she enlists him, even though knowing that exposing Antoine could get him and the world he loves destroyed. Now, the film is very funny and quick paced, and it does seem a tad rushed, as you can see Guy breaking his program within 15 minutes of the film, but it is later explained within the film that his code is hidden within other hidden codes because of the original code they used before it was turned, that he would be triggered and turned into an AI of sorts when meeting Molotov Girl, and they're surprised of how advanced he became. It blew the original coder's minds. Now, the humour of this film is very Deadpool-esque, with kind of foul language and teenage quiet jokes, but in the UK it was rated 12A, so it's actually quite surprising some of the jokes they got away with. There's a particular joke about the sock, and when I heard the joke I was laughing for two reasons. One, because it's funny, and two, because it's quite adult themed, and I didn't think kids who were in the cinema would get it, but I bet that parents did as well and felt very uncomfortable, especially if their kids knew what they were laughing at. The film also contains quite a lot of swearing, which, no complaints from me, but at the same time very surprising with the rating. They even allowed, there was quite a lot of shit, and I think a few fucks every now and then, which I'm just saying is a bit surprising. No real complaints on this film. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I personally think it's a very funny film. I'd definitely go recommend it. Other films in the same vein, I'd say The Truman Show. Whilst The Truman Show, I believe, took a very dramatic approach and tried to have a message within that film, it's still very good, and I'd definitely go watch it. Another film, whilst I haven't seen, admittedly, but I've read it's in a similar vein, sounds and looks very similar, is Ready Player One. Now, I think that Free Guy probably took a lot of inspiration from that, as it also has references to other games and other universes within the film. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you guys later, and we'll have a new background for a few days.